I have to tell you that this past Easter, it's resurrection, but I'm going to talk your talk today. This past Easter was one of the saddest I've ever seen. Now, I understand, and by sad, I mean I watched several news channels. I didn't go to these TBNs or these gospel program channels. I don't do that kind of stuff. I ain't crazy. I think I lost my mind to turn on TBN. I know you done lost your mind, or the Word Network, or any of these others. But, over the years, even the secular ABC, CBS, and NBC would take a few moments to bring their cameras to a church worship service, a Catholic church or some Southern Baptist or Protestant church, and they would be there for the worship and give 30 seconds or so about, well, this is what's happening on Easter Sunday, the churches. And then years ago, there used to be actually Easter parade up and down Fifth Avenue. And then they'd be over there in Rome, and you see all the people out there in the Vatican Square, and the Pope be up there doing that, whatever he do. That kind of thing, but none of that this past Sunday. And we're in Harlem, right? Now our church is 24/7, and so I asked some of the ushers at the door, because there are a couple of churches across the street and in the block. I said, did they open up their gates? Did they, this is Easter, so, I understand COVID-19 and social distancing, but some of these churches, are large enough where you can see people 6 feet apart, 10 feet apart. I said, is anybody going in their church? They said, no, Pastor. And usually, let me tell you something. Harlem, you want to see some colors. You want to see a cascade. Listen, on Easter Sunday in years gone by in Harlem, it looked better than Mardi Gras. People would be dressed to kill. Women with hats, men with spats. I mean, it was the joint up and down 7th Avenue, Lenox Avenue, 8th Avenue, 125th Street. People parading themselves to churches with their children. I mean, it was a show to be seen beyond Mardi Gras here in Harlem years ago. People used to go to church. I looked out on the streets of Harlem this past Sunday, Easter Sunday, and I saw some Japheth, that is white men, walking around in short pants, poodles, dogs, and others, just two men walking, holding hands, young Japheth men with blonde hair. And I saw a lot of homeless people on the street with black bubble jackets on, some in wheelchairs, black Japheth people. And I said, well, where, years ago, a man used to go to church down the street down here. He used to wear a white suit every Sunday, white suit, white shoes, white hat. They're just deacon in the church. That's how they are. Kind of like, that's what he did. I haven't seen him in years. I didn't see anybody dressed for church this past Sunday. I looked out on the streets. The churches were closed. A few of them were open, but we were open. We opened up at 7 o'clock. And even though we were social distancing and we had quarantined and a whole lot of other stuff that was going on, but it was the saddest. And by the way, it isn't that people were afraid to gather. No, that's not the reason. Did you know the TSA, Transit Security Agency for the airport, said that 1.5 million people boarded airplanes this weekend. So it isn't that people weren't going there. And it's been the second largest since the pandemic began. Yesterday, 38,000 people gathered in Texas Stadium down in Texas yesterday for a baseball game. 38,000 people sitting elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, knee to knee, ham bone to ham bone. It's not that people are afraid of COVID. It's just that the love of many has waxed cold. And they just don't care about Jesus anymore. And so it was a very sad day. Now, we had a great worship. I'm going to try to get to the Nigerian sisters that presented. I turned the pulpit over to them this past Sunday morning. We're going to get to that, not today, but we'll get to it a little bit later on. You've probably seen some of it already. Maybe you worship with us on this past sunrise worship service at 7 o'clock. No, we will open up. And we stay open, even though we had to do some social distancing, actually had to do some quarantine because of my usher, Deacon Williams, who's close to me all the time, was diagnosed. He tested positive for COVID-19. So we had to do a real jujitsu kind of thing. But we didn't stop worshiping the Lord. But the love of many has really waxed cold. And even after the pandemic is over, I don't know if people are going to return to churches, some of these churches, because that's not what's in their hearts and their spirits anymore. At any rate, everybody, I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant. I'll be right back. This is symbolic. It's where Jesus was baptized. It's where John baptized. And so this is not a rebaptism. It's just a symbolic, if you will, act of what we're going to do, being in the water at the place where Jesus was baptized. And what I'd like to do is to baptize today that we would come to terms with the understanding of what God is calling for in righteousness. He's not calling for prosperity. He isn't calling for culturalism. God is calling for righteousness. If we would commit ourselves to fulfill all righteousness, and God has calls us to be persecuted for righteousness' sake, as John was persecuted for righteousness, and so Jesus. I got to tell you that I'll never forget this experience of actually stepping in the water where Jesus were baptized, and where John has baptized so many people. This is such a historic and a powerful, powerful sight. Just to touch the water was so critical. And I'm glad that people got baptized to have that experience. It was a safe experience and a great experience. I'm not even going to change my clothes. I want to just stay in baptism mode until I get back to the hotel. So that's what I want to say. All right.
This has been live from the Jordan River. God bless you all. Peace.
Righteousness. Boom, chakalaka goes right there.